The world of Minecraft is a beautiful one, but it can also be dangerous. In an amplified Minecraft world, however, survival is exponentially harder. Even the simplest tasks like chopping down trees or gathering food could mean your life. Get too close to the edge and it's all over. So, do I have what it takes to survive and thrive? Join me to find out as I attempt to survive 100 days in hardcore Minecraft Amplified. Day 1. Oh boy! Let's start off day 1 by punching some grass, collecting seeds, and making the acquaintance of our brand new Amplified world. Oh, hello! I quickly grabbed some loot here to get a huge head start. Next, I had to climb to the top of this mountain just to chop down some trees. I finally punched my first tree, allowing me to craft a shield. Like I said, the loot was a serious boost. Right after that, I was able to craft a wooden pickaxe which would help me get some cobblestone. With that cobblestone, I made some upgraded tools and carried on chopping trees. Lots of trees. After I cut down all the trees I needed, I cautiously made my way down into the valley to gather food before nightfall. Shortly after, I wound up finding some cows. The leather was a nice bonus, but I noticed there were only 4 of these guys, so I left 2 of them to breed later on. In the valley, I stumbled upon a spooky little cave. I checked it out for any easy iron or coal, but I had no such luck. I killed some sheep for more food and a bed. As I explored, I came across this roofed forest edge bordering a body of water. It looked so nice, I knew I had to settle here. More sheep kill. So I fired up the grill and cooked up some steaks while simultaneously cutting down some dark oak trees. As night fell, I did the classic Minecraft move and burrowed underground to stay safe from any mobs that would spawn. I whipped up a midnight snack, set up my stuff, and grabbed some more cobblestone. Then I crafted a bed and got a good night's sleep. Day 2 started off bright and early with some mining. I need iron gear as quickly as possible, so we'll start with an iron chestplate to suit up. Now seems like as good a time as any to start farming some crops. I know I'm going to need loads of wheat later on to breed cows and sheep. Wasting no time at all, I gathered my belongings and headed to Bedrock. Once I got there, I started a new mine where I gathered all kinds of goodies, such as coal, iron, and redstone. The first cave I found was a lucky one, but I knew I wouldn't be getting those diamonds easily. Come on, Brayden. I carried on securing the cave by lighting it up, grabbing any lapis I found for enchantments, and luckily enough, I stumbled upon yet another vein of diamonds. Oh boy! I made my way back to the entrance, but I had to mine those diamonds before I left. Unfortunately, before I could finish mining, my pick broke. Lucky for me though, I could make a diamond pickaxe. Since I was right next to it, I couldn't pass up on the obsidian. I started day 3 by upgrading my mine shaft with some stairs. By the time I was finished, some of my wheat was ready to harvest. They grow up so fast. I ventured out a bit and found this pretty little lake. There I noticed some sugarcane, so I brought it back home. From there, I made enough paper for a book, and with that book, I'm now able to make an enchantment table. We all saw this coming. Enchanter? I barely knew her! Now that my gear has had a minor upgrade, it's high time we go on a little excursion. I hopped through the roofed forest and scaled the cliff ahead. Once I reached the top, I almost lost it all with one sudden move. What a beautiful sight, he exclaimed while holding a leg of mutton in his bare hand. I found some cows across the way, so I stripped them for parts. Oh, you guys know what's coming next, don't you? Huh? Don't you? Yeah! When I got home, I thought it was the perfect time to domesticate some animals. I made a small sheep pen, and before nightfall, I got them in their new home. I went out looking for those cows on day 5, but hey, that's not a cow. Okay, that's better. I wrangled up some cattle like a good little cowboy and brought them back home with some chicken friends. As I began breeding them up, I realized I want a lot of sheep. So I began expanding their pen bit by bit, giving them plenty of room to grow. After that, I went to my hidey hole, grabbed my gear, and ripped out some enchantments to end the day. What are you looking at? I decided to come back to that cave I found on day 1, because I think we'll be able to find some great resources down here. Once I was in the cave, I was bombarded by creeper after creeper. I wanted to use this speedy caving session to ask you to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Only a small percentage of you are subscribed, so it would really help me out a lot. And keep your eyes peeled for a secret message toward the end of the video. The first person to comment the hidden phrase will have a special honor in the next video. Subscribe so you don't miss out. After all that mining, I was in the mood to explore. So I set out in a direction I don't think I've been yet, and climbed up some steep terrain to come to this clearing. Here, I saw one of the most beautiful scenes yet. After admiring the scenery for a couple minutes, I built a makeshift bridge over to the taiga biome so I could get some spruce wood. But since I was already over there, I decided to go a bit further ahead. I found this nice little cove, so I decided to stop here and set up camp for the night. Blasting into day 8, we found ourselves a fox. I punched some sweetberry bushes and they punched me back. Somehow I managed to feed the fox, but he was still too timid. So I spent some time taking in the breathtaking landscapes of the amplified mega taiga. I started walking back home, but decided to use up the remaining daylight. I'm glad I did, because we found some puppies! I'll be back for you. I spent the next morning expanding my animal army and doing just a ton of the basic Minecraft chores you need to do every now and again. I planted down some pumpkin seeds, I even started repopulating the roof forest, expanded my sugarcane farm, and chopped down some more trees. By day 10 though, I got tired of chopping down a couple trees at a time, so I went into the valley and flattened out some land just for farming trees. I used the dirt I dug up to fill in some more space for my wheat field on day 11. Whenever I get to work in somewhat even terrain in an amplified world, I count it as an absolute win.
I see this as an absolute win.
Then I expanded my wheat farm. Building up the land and tilling that soil took up just enough time for some trees to grow, so I spent the rest of the day chopping away. I was back in the mines on day 12, collecting some precious resources when I broke my way into a lava pool. Once I made my way in, I caught a glimpse of some sweet, sweet diamonds. I knew I had to secure this cave before going for those shiny rocks, so I flew through the cave lighting it up as fast as I could. I could finally retrieve the diamonds, but that proved to be no easy task. The ore was completely surrounded by lava, so I had to make sure it would be safe to mine them without dropping them or myself into the lava. Now that I had my diamonds, it was time to explore the rest of the lava. I broke open some floating gravel, which turned out to be a big mistake. The more I dug, the worse it got. I broke the death pinata all the way open now, and these two hoodlums dropped out and ambushed me. They caught me off guard, so I tried knocking one into the lava to kill it faster, but that wasn't working. They had me in the red. I had to retreat. Little did they know, I'm remarkably brave and strong. Quickly, I took out the last skeleton. I explored their lair to soon find that it was worth all my troubles. I managed to find a few more diamonds here, and found even more just past the war zone. Zoomed into day 14 with a quick crop harvest, followed by breeding all these chickens before I crafted up this beautiful diamond gear. While I was in the enchanting mood, I built some more bookshelves to get the highest level enchantments possible right now. So I placed down my bookshelves, went and grabbed my enchantment table, and just started dressing it up a little bit. Doesn't that look better? I spent most of day 16 up in the trees gathering saplings, until these guys paid me a visit. I kindly greeted them with a firm handshake, but clearly they had other plans for me. So I did what I had to do. And by that, I mean I mopped the floor with them. At this point, I realized what a dangerous place this is, so I enchanted my sword with fire aspect. I noticed I still had bad omen, so I drank some milk and it was all better. I bred up my cows once more before the big slaughter. Poor dudes. With their hides, I crafted some more bookshelves, which made a nice addition to my enchantment setup. Hey, that's pretty good. I moved on to some terraforming. Nothing too serious, just flattening out a space to eventually build my house on. For now though, I'll just be placing my nether portal here and lighting it so that we're ready to go through. On day 18, it was time to go to the nether. Surprise, surprise, I came out in another crimson forest. For those of you who don't know, I hate this biome with a passion. It's stupid. But anyway, I decided to pillar up for a vantage point, trying to scout out a nether fortress. But all I could see was red. Pro tip, turning off fog with Optifine really helps. I encountered my first hoglin, so I tried to set it ablaze. That didn't work, but I remembered that my sword does that automatically now. Oh, I can still hear the sizzling. I found some piglins, and lucky for me, I brought gold. They gave me all kinds of stuff like string. I used it to craft a bow and brought it back to the overworld to enchant. On day 19, a wandering trader showed up, but he didn't have anything great to offer. I went back to enchanting and managed to upgrade my diamond leggings from protection 1 to protection 2. Back to the nether we go. To get as much gold as possible, I mined some ore with silk touch to smelt later on. I was afraid that piglins would catch on to my plan. I went on exploring the forest, and that's when I had near-death experience number 3. On day 20, the most beautiful thing appeared before me. Warp Forest, here I come! I picked up some of the local plant life, and even managed to score a few more ender pearls over the next couple days. Carrying on with day 21, I found a bastion. I made my way in to grab any loot I could find when suddenly I saw a chest. I dropped down to it, blocked myself in before the brutes could get me, and grabbed the epic loot. That was about all my little heart could bear for one day, so I decided to make my way back out of the bastion and focus on a new project instead, finding a nether fortress. I really do mean it when I say the welcoming party was definitely ready for me when I set foot in the fortress. I had blazes shooting from the left and 3 wither skeletons dead ahead. Okay, you know what? That was the last straw. I sniped those clowns from a distance, collected my trophy, and headed into their fortress in hopes of finding some top-tier loot. I even found some nether wart to replant later for potion brewing. Shortly afterward, I found myself at the mercy of yet another wither skeleton, but I wouldn't back down. After a few powerful strikes of the sword, I sliced his skull clean off. Gross! Only a few moments later, all his comrades ganged up on me from all sides, so I had no choice but to fight back. With all my might, I swept through the crowd and secured Wither Skull number 2. Since I was pretty lucky with the first 2, it was worth waiting for the 3rd skull the next day. As soon as I got everything I wanted, I made the long and arduous journey back to my home portal. It was raining on day 26, but I must have done something good because as soon as I came out of the portal, it lit up. Cool! I spent the next couple of days chopping down lots of trees, and I mean lots of trees. All kinds of trees, too. I expanded my enchanting setup again, and got some awesome boots just in the nick of time. I crafted up some Eyes of Ender and used one to make an ender chest. Then I enchanted this iron pick. Moving onward, I started clearing a path and taming some more terrain. I did the same thing by my base, and even removed my portal so that I could start work on my house soon enough. I laid out a cobblestone framework just to get an idea of the size of my build, and on day 30, I spent some time way up on the cliffs admiring the surrounding amplified terrain. I spent the next couple of days back down in the caves once again. While I was there, I stumbled upon a skeleton spawner, so I lit up the cave around it and grabbed my loot. Don't worry, I'll come back later and build a farm. That wasn't the only good thing from this trip though. I found diamonds on diamonds on diamonds. So, dude, I don't know about you guys, but I see this as an absolute win.
I see this as an absolute win.
I set up some chests in the foundation of my house, and I got around to sorting all of my items at Mach 10. Day 35 came around, and I was itching to get back out and explore. I want to set out and find a mesa biome. But before I could do that, I had an important job I should have done a long time ago. Much better. I set out through the roofed forest and wound up digging a tunnel through this mountain since I didn't want to climb up it. I got to look around at the beautiful scenery before I did what we all knew was coming. I MLG'd, guys. Are you proud of me? Oops. I came across a witch hut on day 37, so naturally I killed the old hag, and I took her pet cat, too. I spent some time finessing my MLG skills. Impressive, I know. I jumped off a cliff and found a zombie on day 38. Day 39, my kitty got me a present. Finally, I felt like I was going in the right direction as a desert came into view. I grabbed some sandstone, then ventured into the bordering jungle. From there, I found a savanna biome with a village. Time to find some more kitties. I spent the next several days drifting with the desert sand, and I saw many things, including this cool overhang housing a spider dungeon. At the end of the desert lied a jagged mesa biome, so I hunkered down and mined all the terracotta I could hold. When I was through, I even set up a nether portal so I could get back home quickly. When I got back home, I planted down some cacti just for the heck of it. I'd collected tons of clay blocks way back in the swamp, so I broke down all those blocks to turn into bricks. This process took quite a lot of time and even more fuel. I finally got all of my terracotta put away, and then I spent the next few days chopping down trees and fighting bad guys. I finally got a Fortune 3 pickaxe, which meant I could break down all of the diamond ore I had saved up. I used some of these diamonds to complete my suit of armor. I killed lots of chickens, which provided good food, but my focus was to get as many arrows as I could. Day 51, I enchanted my helmet and collected any missing resources I needed to build my house. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let's do some building. After a whopping 15-day build, all of my crops were grown up. Before you comment it, yes, I am using Fortune 3. Hey, llama, want to be my friend? Aw, heck yeah, you do. Day 69, I didn't do anything special. I just did some farming. Don't you dare! I put some finishing touches on the house, and I've got to say, it's looking beautiful. I waited for nightfall on day 71 so that I could try to collect some more ender pearls. I forgot piglins will give them to you, so I did this instead like an idiot. It didn't go so well, but I want to avoid sleeping anyway to get phantom spawning. I decided to dye my sheep lime green and started collecting lime wool. Let's just say I've got a cool project planned for 200 days. With a new enchantment on my bow, I'm almost ready for the dragon. Egg. I tried for some more ender pearls and failed, but watching my first sunrise over the new house was pretty sweet. Day 74, I enchanted an epic new sword. I went back to the mines and gathered more obsidian, and I rebuilt my portal up in my house. Finally, I had some phantom spawning, so I sniped this dude right out of the sky. After that, I renamed my fortune pickaxe, and headed back to the nether to get the last of my Eyes of Ender to find the stronghold and complete the portal frame. Next, I brewed slow falling and strength potions, grabbed some building blocks, and re-enchanted the last of my gear. At long last, I was ready to fight the dragon. Aw, man. The trip to the stronghold was a long one, but I got to see some cool things along the way. Finally, the eyes guided me to this small island. As the eye plummeted to the ground, I knew I was close. I dug a tunnel straight down, which quickly led me into a stronghold. Once I was in, it didn't take me long to hear silverfish. I found the portal. Now let's kill that dragon. It had been a while since my end spawn wasn't buried inside the main island, but once I built my way to the land, there was no stopping me. I even tried using eggs to break the end crystals. In the end, though, a bow proved to be much more effective. Once I found my rhythm, I took out crystal after crystal with ease. This poor dragon didn't even stand a chance. Don't worry though, guys, I'm gonna blow you away with this epic MLG pro gamer move right here. I hope that left you speechless, because I really don't want to hear about it in the comments. The dragon swept me off the ground with her huge wing, but I wasn't worried. I was about to pay her back with one shot. The dragon finally came to her perch for the first time on day 78, so I rushed in and dealt as much damage as I could using my trusty sword. After taking a quarter of her health, she took off, but I wasn't concerned. I knew my aim was hot. I had her on the ropes. I knew I could take her out before she fled once again, but I had to take her down in style. I let her fly away, fired arrows until she was just one shot away from death, and waited for her to land one final time. Egg, don't fail me now! Well, that didn't work. But she is finally landing, hopefully for the last time. I had to rush out of the way of her fiery breath, and I unleashed the wrath of Egg with my final blow. We've finally done it, ladies and gentlemen. We've slain the Ender Dragon. With an egg. On the 79th day, I pillared up to the end gateway and sent a pearl through to the other side. I landed on a tiny island, so I had to bridge my way to solid ground. Once I was there, though, I only had to take a few short steps before the coveted end ship came into view. The entrance to the city was halfway buried, which made it feel safe and small. Something I need a bit more of in this amplified world. I bridged my way over to the ship and tossed my ender pearl. Once I got inside, the shulkers didn't give me much trouble. I simply took my elytra and got out of there. Oh, and don't worry, I grabbed the dragon's head too. I spent the rest of the day collecting endstone and navigating back to base. On day 80, I planted down some chorus fruit. Nice. I organized all of my end loot, crafted some more diamond gear, and dished out some gnarly enchantments. I decided I didn't want to keep my nether portal here after all, so I took it down. Then I made an even better fortune pickaxe. Then I put mending on my elytra and took my first quick glide through this beautiful amplified world. Day 82 was the day of portal connections. I relocated my home portal down in the valley, and once I got into the nether, I removed that portal too. I wanted to build a safe hub up in the ceiling, so I did exactly that, starting with my home portal. Next, I moved on to connecting with my mesa biome portal. I was frustrated about mining through the basalt until I found this. How lucky is it to find ancient debris this high up in the nether, just randomly digging a tunnel? Seriously, I need you guys to tell me. Now that I've got the new portal in place, I have to go down into the delta and destroy the original. It's always a bit nerve-wracking, but luckily for me, the portals were obviously very close to one another. So, all I had to do was simply hop down into this valley and break the portal. I didn't believe what I saw on the other side of the new portal. My cat was still in the mesa. I made sure he got home safe and sound. On day 84, I returned home safely, so I took a quick flight around the valley. This is a beautiful place. While flying around, I spotted this beehive, so I snatched it. There were no bees though, so I tried generating new ones with trees. That wasn't working, so I ditched that plan and finally got my puppies. I love you. I love you. Holy moly, I found some loose bees too. I came home to unwelcome guests, so I politely asked them to leave. This will prove to be a colossal mistake very soon. On day 87, I was just looking for something to do. So I flew right over this mountain and learned that we have a village right next door. You know how they say hindsight is 20/20? I kind of feel like regular sight should have caught this one. Help me. The first few waves of the raid actually weren't all that bad. In fact, it was kind of fun getting to practice fighting some of these guys. When you only have to fight the guys with crossbows and maybe one Vindicator, it's more of a nuisance than anything. These clowns went down with ease. Then came through the first Ravager. I was truly terrified, but I could pick them off while hiding safely in this tree. That is, until the Evoker caught on. Thankfully, they can't move while summoning Vexes, because that made him an easy target. But suddenly I was hit! One of the Vexes had fire aspect. That's a lethal combination, so I booked it straight out of there. Really? Again with this? Those Vexes were too stealthy and strong, so I had no choice but to wait them out. On day 88, I managed to pick up a Totem of Undying, so I felt way better about this fight. An Evoker came through on a Ravager, so he couldn't outrun my fire. I was whittling their army down one by one, and finally, I defeated their raid. I started the final 10 days by collecting some more obsidian, because I want to connect a nether portal to this newfound village. My plan is to bring 2 villagers back home. That way, I can start a villager breeder in the 200 days video. And I've gotta say, moving these villagers could not have gone any smoother until they got to the overworld. Eventually, I got them locked in with a stonecutter. My villagers were giving me gifts for ending the raid. I sold their gifts back to them for emeralds to make my first trades. Stonks. I continued this strategy as long as I could and eventually unlocked the coveted quartz block trade. I've got one small project in mind to finish off these 100 days. It's really been a blast. This project will set us up really nicely for the next 100 days video. By the way, for those who were wondering about it earlier, the secret phrase is bird nest. Mention that in a comment down below and watch the next installment of this series to see if you're the winner. Hey, that's pretty good. I spent day 95 doing chores like harvesting carrots for my villagers, then I harvested some chorus fruit in the coolest way possible. Then I suddenly remembered that I need kelp, but I don't have any. I flew out to the closest ocean I knew of to harvest some. After gathering my resources, it was time to build a skeleton farm. Let's go! On day 98, I was just so happy to see my bees buzzing around my new house. I started breeding them to populate my colony. Next, I went around and did some groundskeeping. Namely, I went around and improved all of our paths. Now that I had built everything I wanted to for this video, it was time to map it out. Isn't it amazing to see how far we've come in such a short period of time? Ladies and gentlemen, we finally did it! We managed to survive 100 days in an amplified, hardcore Minecraft world. Thank you guys so much for your immense support and patience. I really couldn't do this without you. Don't forget to click that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on the next installment of this series. Also, I'll be starting a live stream over on Twitch, so remember to give me a follow. I'll have the links down below. So, what challenges lie ahead for us in this amplified world? Be sure to let me know what you would like to see down in the comments or over on Twitter. And stay tuned for the next 100 days.